Welcome to Rewind the Podcast. What up, everybody?
Welcome back.
We're back, bitches.
We're up to the timeline. No one's on vacation, even though I'm still dressing like I'm on vacation. Can I just, if I had a six-pack.
Welcome back to Rewind the Podcast.
No, it would be over. I would be sitting out here like one of those Abercrombie models outside.
I always say, like, God knew what he was doing by making me chubby, because let me be a two. Y'all be like, Raven, why is you on the podcast in a bikini top?
Literally.
Every week.
My friend, when I started losing weight for the first time, she's like, I can just tell if, like, you get down to, like, your goal weight, you'll be the one who's like, God, it's 65, not 64 in here. Whoosh. And I'll be like,
I know.
absolutely.
I'm, like, on a journey. I saw, like, Gabe. He's always on a journey.
He's always on a journey. Say hi to producer Gabe.
What I'm on a journey where I, like, want to better myself, so I have some, like, health and wellness things I'm going to start doing.
Oh, do you care to share, or do you want to hold
I'm going to start exercising. Okay, I'm not, like, a workout girly like that, but I'm going to do, like, littles. I want to be more consistent with getting my eyebrows done.
Okay.
Welcome.
This is what they came for, as Rihanna would say.
But I want to start being a girl who lifts heavy.
Okay, no, do you see why I'm smiling big? I was like, okay, all the girls are like, I'm going to go do like cardio cinema.
No.
I want you like 3 years from now to be like, okay, everybody, make sure you go to Florida. Raven's doing strong woman. Like, and you're over there like, oh.
I want them to be like, damn, that girl country strong. Like, yeah. I want that. Like, I want to be in the gym like, ooh, ooh.
Be like, damn, baby, what are you lifting? And you'd be like, don't worry about it. I don't know why your voice got deeper.
That is what I want. So look out for me. I'm going to be, I need to get a personal trainer.
I know somebody. No, for real.
No, you be running and jumping up hills. I'm not doing any of that.
He loves to do the marathons.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I want to like go to the gym and like use the like machine.
You should go with my friend Chandler. I work with him at Ranch Hands. He is like a certified personal trainer.
Yes, but is he single? Is he a straight single man? Because I can't have a straight single man.
He is straight, but he is not single. So you should be good.
Okay.
Look, he was gonna work with me before I decided against it. That sounds bad. But
it didn't work out.
Yeah. He's going to work with me at the end of the summer, but he also worked with another guy who's lost like almost 150 pounds, had to have the weight loss surgery and everything. But he loves lifting. Get into it.
Okay, yeah. Chandler.
He's the reason I have all those meals. Quick shout out to Hummus Fit. I told you I would shout y'all on the podcast. My order got spoiled. They sent me double. I have like, I'm not kidding, almost 100 meals in there.
Is the food good?
The food is actually very good.
Okay.
You've gone to those ready meal things. Like we've tried all of them. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
We've tried all of them. Those are awesome. I've got 2 waiting to go right now. This is not an ad. They literally just had amazing customer service.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to get them to go, too.
Yeah.
Are we going to be skinny?
We're going to be skinny girls. I know. Well, yeah.
Okay. So we're going to bring it down just for a second because we need to acknowledge some things that have happened recently. Yeah. The first being, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't honestly know all the details, but there was a flood at Camp Mystic in Texas.
So there was a flood essentially in all of that hill country.
Okay.
So like Kerrville is like usually like to me like the center of hill country. Now geographically that's not what I mean, but like that is just like hill country, a lot of rivers, a lot of lakes, things like that. Camp Mystic is in that area. And they said like a storm came through at night and literally I think they said within 45 minutes like rose like 12 to 20 feet in some areas.
And so there was like not even a chance for them to like evacuate at that point because it happened so quickly.
It was at like 3 or 4 in the morning. It was.
Of course, like loss of life is sad in any regards, but the fact that these were babies, it like wrecks me. And these parents who sent their kids off to camp for like a normal summer activity.
I could cry.
And I'm not going to because I'm not going to. But and then to lose them in that way, I saw one video of one of the dads who like came back to try to like find his child. And I was like, that is literally every parent's worst nightmare.
Well, and you, and Gabe, I don't even know about you, but you went to camp growing up. Like I did church camps. I did like once a week. And I mean, that's my thing is I think it was like a faith-based camp. For all we know, it could have been like, you know, you're going for 4 weeks, you're going for 1, but it's just like.
And it's like, it was like my dream as a kid to like live a Parent Trap moment.
And like go to camp for like 8 weeks.
Yeah, and like it just looked like so much fun, and for it to be soured in that way. And I think even the counselors like passed as well, and who were young, very young women. I want to say in their like early 20s.
Like there was one I saw the other day. Okay, so I'm from Texas originally. I'm from West Texas though, not Central Texas. But like I've seen on my Facebook, and it's like people who are like, have you seen my cousin? Like this is my friend, and it's awful to watch. Like I had friends, like it wasn't necessarily close there, but like people go camping down there. Like that's a lot of things. Like a lot of people have said they've gone camping, or they were at a camp, or some people just lived there. And it just, I can't.
And our thoughts and prayers go out to those families, to everyone who's affected and who lost someone, loved someone who was there. We are thinking of you, praying for you, and all those things. And I want to take a little bit of a turn, and I don't want to politicize a tragedy by any means, but I do think it's irresponsible to not talk about how we get into certain situations.
Well, that's what I want to talk about as well, because when we're watching it roll in, we're saying like, oh, this is the rain, like this is a tragedy, it's awful. And then and I don't want to compare it to this, but this is like the only thing that's come to my mind right now. It's sometimes like when there's like a shooting, it's like this is an awful event, and then it does start to get a little politicized. But I feel like there's people who sensationalize it. I don't know if that's the right word, or like over rational. I don't know what the word is.
Okay,
you know what I'm trying to talk about? Like it becomes like their new like torture porn thing for the moment.
Right. And I think too, when we're talking about like the big beautiful bill that just passed and things like that, like we're stripping away so many resources for things that are important. And I think especially California was on fire a couple months ago. Like we've lived through Hurricane Katrina. We've seen what these natural disasters can do and the devastation. And it seems so counterproductive and counterintuitive to then say, we're going to take all of this money out of the things that are going to keep us safe to align people's pockets. And that's the part that I have the like biggest issue with.
Well, and you saying that, comparing it to the big beautiful bill, what I've heard is that there were certain like weather programs or like atmospheric, meteorologist things that were set up in place, and because of lack of funding, they pulled those things, not even just from this bill, but even from the past administrations and things like that, bills that have been passed, like it was pulled. And so like, in a sense, like there could have been a warning. It could have been things like that, and woulda, coulda, shoulda. There's over 100 people dead.
Exactly, and kids on top of that. So, like, as I'm saying, you don't want to get too far into that. I think now's the time to really mourn them and, like, celebrate the lives that they had and all of that. But at the same time, there needs to be a reasonable conversation about how do we stop this from happening to other people? Like, how many people have to die before we realize, like, this is something that needs to be the priority. And as a person who works in like healthcare industry, defunding of Medicaid, like there's so much that's going on right now that's gonna hurt the most vulnerable people among us. And it's hard to see the forest for the trees.
Well, and I think it's hard to like, we are obviously devastated by what's going on. But at the same time too, like, to say like, oh, this is a devastating, isolated event, and that just was random and we can move on from it, I think is also dishonest. But I also think there's a lot of people on social media and TikTok and things who are, even if they are for like, we need these programs, we are doing it in like a lack of empathy way. And they're like, well, your kid wouldn't have died if we would have had that weather program. You get who you vote for. And I'm like, you're also tacky as
Yeah, that is not the energy. And I get the frustration, and I think the frustration is real.
Yes.
And if you, like, I understand being in that thought process of, like, elections have consequences, and, you vote for these people, and they don't stand up for you. But at the same time, the most important thing is that lives were lost. And like, you have to come at it from an angle of empathy, or it just completely, you lose all credibility at that point.
Well, and I think you're correct in saying that, is like, if you don't come at it from a point of empathy before, then the empathy after can sometimes seem, that sounds probably so controversial, it can almost seem like, well, where's your empathy when we were trying to, anyway.
I get what you're saying.
The two things that I just want to hit on before we move on from this, because it is kind of dark, is one, just like when there was ice storms in Texas a couple years ago, Ted Cruz is on vacation.
Don't get me started on Raphael, because I got a lot to say about him.
He's in Europe having a margarita, doing Aperol Spritz.
Always.
After he just got lit up on Tucker Carlson. Don't ever make me get on Tucker Carlson's side.
Lit up. My thing is, Tucker Carlson made him look so incompetent to the point where I'm like, the fact that people keep voting for him, I don't get it. Same with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, I don't see it.
I don't see it. I don't get why. The second thing I wanted to say about all of it is I still will peruse on Facebook, and I'm not going after these people, but, you know, we've always talked about my little deconstruction journey. There's a big post going around, and it was like, where was God in the flood? And it was kind of like... and maybe,
like from non-believers?
No, from believers who are trying to make sense of what's happening. And they were like, was God doing this as like a punishment? Was he doing it as this?
Okay.
Was he? And it was like, no. And it's like, it was kind of like a, God is still on the throne and he's like, he works in mysterious ways. We can still trust him. And I was like, I want to understand your heart in this. Horrible time. Horrible time. People are still waiting on the phone
call of where their children are.
Where their children are, grandparents, their mother, anything like that. And you're over here and you're like, well, we can trust God. And I don't like it, to pull the lens back. I also don't like it because it makes it seem like, and this is something I've had to struggle with in my own, because people can interpret the Bible this way. It's like God's playing chess with us for his like greatest glory. And maybe this is something I should bring up in therapy, but it's just like, that's something that's so hard for me to wrap my brain. He's like, let me kill these children. You know what I mean?
I know.
We're not going to talk about it.
No, we can talk about it. Let's go there.
And people are just posting about it, and they're just like, well, like at the end of the day, God still gets all the glory, which like that I'm cool with. But like, I'm just like, this is not the time to try and like do apologetics. In this moment. It made me mad more than anything.
I get that, and I can sympathize and understand wanting to make sense of tragedy and wanting to see the bigger picture of like the why. The problem with that is that none of us are God, and how you view God changes how you look at things like that. Because I don't view God as a entity person who purposefully plays these games with people. Disease to me is not of God. Disasters are not of God. Like, yes, God is greater than of all things, but at the same time, we have free will. We live in this place to live our lives, make choices for ourselves. Choices have consequences. Sometimes they affect you directly and sometimes they don't. But whenever something bad happens, pointing it at God seems counterproductive, and not to get too deep into things like this, but we also act as if there isn't an enemy.
That, and then to pull, like you said, from even when we're talking about like our political thing, and I know people say don't mix like God and politics and certain things, but we're clearly doing that in the United States of America. But it's the... sometimes God's like, I want it, like it says in the Bible, like, you know, for our good, you know, thief comes, steal, kill, and destroy. If you are not a Christian, this is probably going way over your head.
Just rock out. We gonna
just vibe and drive.
We just get to the fun stuff in a minute.
Yeah, we will. But it's like he comes to give life and everything. And it's like, well, maybe a consequence of your sin is when you ignore things that we need. And then because of that, consequences like this happen. Like, ignore things like, hey, like, we need to fund things that will help the greater good.
Well, yeah, I think that's, cause and effect. But I will say, too, I don't want to not give space for God making all things work for our good, even the horrible things. From a personal perspective, like, losing my brother was terrible. It was the worst thing that's ever happened to us. But at the same time, I could still see God's grace in a lot of it. And so although I don't think God made my brother an addict or made him, you know...
He's like, I need Raven's character development, so she has to lose her. I will never buy into that.
No, and I don't think God, put him in the situation for him to pass the way that he did. But I will say, in the depths of the grief and the sorrow and all of those things, there were things that were the comfort in the trying time is where I can say like God is good and does make things work for our good. But to try to like twist it, like you said, like he needed to die so that we could all learn some type of lesson, I think is silly.
Yeah, and like I said, if you're seeing it around on Facebook and you interpret it a different way, that's a whole thing. Like I said, for people out there watching, you've never darkened the door of a church in your life. But for Christianity, like we went off, we're coming back.
We infighting right now.
The major point of all this is, like you said at the beginning, our thoughts and prayers are with these people. If you know of like resources we can give to, things like that, please put it in the comments. Let us know, and we'll be happy to share those things.
For sure.
But more than anything, our hearts and thoughts and minds are with the people who are losing loved ones and still waiting for that phone call.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah.
All right.
Take a breather.
Moving on along.
Moving on along. We're going to move on respectfully, but
the energy,
we're going to change the energy
because we will be in here crying. Okay.
Yes. Play. What is it? Can't Stop, Won't Stop by. Never mind.
Okay. So tell me about your 4th of July. You were on vacation. We want to hear all the things.
I went on vacation. Okay, well, it started out as a work trip. You know,
Yeah.
I went to Sacramento with the ranch hands. Hello. If you're ever, around and we're going to your town, come see us. But then afterwards, I was like, I'm going to take a trip and I'm going to go to L.A. I haven't been since I was 16. I went with my family. I wasn't out yet. All those things. I was like, I'm going to go to L.A., be gay, have fun, do things. Because the last time I went to L.A., we went with people who were like, we don't want to look like tourists. So I did nothing tourist.
Okay, gotcha.
So I was like, we are going full tourist this time. The activities I did, I had so much fun.
It looked like fun.
It was a lot of fun. I was so ready to come home.
I could tell. I said, it's fun. Listen, I think solo trips should be 3 days.
Yeah.
That's a lot of alone time.
Now, I will say this. I feel like there are solo trips where if there is cause for interaction, you can stay longer. Like there's one to Scotland I want to go to, but it's like you are meant to go solo and meet other people.
But also, I think that I prefer solo trips that are like, there's not things to do. Like if I'm going somewhere to just like unplug, relax, I'm not bus club, another club, I'm not going to museums, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. Like I'm literally going to sit by a
You're
pool.
going on the beach and
get a massage, hang out. Then yeah, I feel like you could go by yourself for 3, 4, 5, 6 days. But a place like that where it's like so much to do, I feel like it's better with a partner.
Now, this may be a little controversial before I get into my activities, but we always, me and Raven both have been to LA this year. Me, Raven, and Gabe all went to New York. I've been to Chicago. I've been to the big cities. I don't know at the end of the day if I am an LA girly.
You are. We are moving there.
No, Raven, I don't know.
We have to move there.
I feel like I'm an NY girly.
Okay, well, the problem is I'm not.
Why?
It's so inconvenient.
How?
Everything
you've got
is
the
inconvenient.
public transportation.
No, literally.
It's expensive.
This
but
is
they're
the beginning
both
of the end of Rewind the Podcast.
No,
because
it is
I'm not
Words
moving.
have power. Words are spells. Don't you do that. This is the beginning of the beginning.
This is the beginning of the beginning. I'm not moving to New York.
I don't. But this is my thing. Okay, about LA. One, I will say it is a work town. That's one thing I gathered this time around at my big age.
And that's what we do, it makes the most sense to live in LA.
Well, then let me change it like this. I could see myself like having an apartment there and being like, okay, we're gonna go there for 3 or 4 weeks and we're gonna film something and do something. Having my permanent base there, I don't think I could do it.
Well, I don't think me either.
You said LA girlies. Like when I hear like LA girl, like you are like we're moving there and it is like
where we live.
Yeah. Like I could go if you're like, hey, we're gonna go do a season of something. I could see us going, but as soon as it's done, I'm trying to get back.
I completely disagree. I just think from what we do for a living, it makes the most sense to do that in LA. For like who we want to be.
See, I don't know because there's plenty of people who live in LA, they live in New York, they live all over the place.
There's a reason why everybody from Love Island moves to LA, everyone from The Bachelor moves to LA, everyone from there's a reason people move to LA.
But not Summer House.
Well, because their show is in New York. Their work is in New York.
Well, maybe our work will be in New York.
If we book Summer House, then yeah, we would have to live in New York.
They started filming, by the way.
I heard.
But my thing is again, not to get spiritual woo-woo, there's after a while, it felt like there was just like, it feels like LA is a heartbreak ballad dressed up as a party anthem. That's the real tea.
Okay.
I felt like I was anxious. Like a couple of days, I was like, "Get me out of here."
Well, I think okay, I respect that.
I don't know.
I will live in LA. I will book shows and events and all the things, and that's where I will live.
And like I said, I will go if I have to work.
That's where the work will be.
No, I'll go if I have to work. People fly all the time. Look at Kev on stage; he's flying anywhere and everywhere.
But he lives in LA.
But for a while, didn't he live in Atlanta?
And no.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Where does he do churchy?
In LA.
Oh, okay, word.
He moved from Washington State to LA.
Topeka, yeah.
Topeka?
That's where he lived, I thought.
I don't know what that
Tacoma.
means.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
He moves from Washington State to LA because that's where like the entertainment business that he wanted to work in was in LA.
I will say this. I was solo. There were many times when I was like, I would love it if XYZ was here to share this moment with me. So whenever we do Blake and Raven and Gabe do wherever that city is, LA, I think it will be a lot more fun.
I think so too.
But moving on from that, I do want to talk about the studio tour I went on, the Warner Brothers studio tour. If you are going to LA, I don't care what else you do, you need to do that. Even if you're not a movie girly.
See, I've never done LA touristy stuff. I've only gone there to work.
Raven, you would love it. It is so behind the scenes. There's some stuff that you can and cannot touch. Ooh. You get to go on sets. They show you how to do like ADR and like how things are made.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
I had the best tour guide. I want to shout him out, Mattia. He was awesome. He was so knowledgeable. And there were times we would drive by others and you could sit there like, so this is where they filmed Spider-Man. He asked us all of our favorite movies. He gave us like in-depth things. And he there was 12 people and everything. He remembered everybody's favorite movie. Wow. We talked about Abbott, Spider-Man. It was just like all this amazing things. And then he introduced me to some other tour guides. And it was just like, in passing. And I told him, I was like, I wanted to really see Stars Hollow. That's where they do it. And it was closed that day. And another tour guide found me on the self-guided part, put me on a private golf cart, and took me as close as they could.
You're lying!
To the filming. And they were like, we know you really wanted to do this. Matthias said it. He's like, so I came and did this on my own. And he took me around. He showed me Lorelei's house, as close as we could get. He showed me the set of the Jennifer Hudson show. He showed me where they were filming.
That's huge.
It was just like a little God kiss. Yeah. And I was just like,
because we're supposed to live in LA.
And I was just so like taken aback. And that was my second thing. And this is the third thing. And we're going to talk about Beyonce. I went to a filming of a show called Happy's Place. It's Reba's new show that she's on with Melissa Peterman, who played Barbara Jean in the original Reba.
Okay.
It was a sitcom filming, and we got to go. And I was at the back. I was at the back of this thing. And if you've ever been to a filming or out there, you know that for the crowd, they have a warm-up guy.
Yeah.
And he tries to get people excited. Yeah. They give away stuff. So when they're like, laugh, you're like, ha, 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 instead of like, okay. During the breaks of the show, they were doing contests, things like that. And then they said, who wants to dance? And we're going to give away $100. That was false. They just wanted you to dance. But I was like, I'll go up there. It's always interesting to tell people I'm a dancer. And then they're like, what?
Yeah.
You junkie? Kind of thing.
No one's
And so I went up there, and we kept getting sent back because they kept having to film. And so they all went to the side to film something, and then they all came back. And as they were coming back, he was like, where was that one guy? He was like, come down here. And if you know me, you know how much I love the show Reba. I'm trying to tell it fast so you don't get bored, but it was my favorite part of LA. And I go down there, and he asked me, he's like, what do you do? And I was like, I'm a dancer. I dance every Friday and Saturday night. I'm a sexy cowboy. And he's like, well, are you a sexy cowboy, Sunday through Thursday? And I was like, 50-50. I was like, I'm a man who likes to be baby girled. And you could tell the other guys in this audience were like, what? Audience was loving it. And he was like, so how do you want me to introduce you to these people? And I was like, tell them my name is Blake. I'm on vacation, and I'm going to dance. And they're all in front of me, and they can hear it. And they're like really getting into it. We're having fun. They know I host a show. They've been playing songs for people to dance to. Guess what song they play?
Return of the Mac.
They play Pony.
You're joking!
And if you've seen my show Ranch Hands, it's like the penultimate song that everybody's ready for.
Obsessed, Blake!
They start playing Pony. I could cry about this next part. I start dancing. I'm giving my full like Jack Black fantasy realness. I'm showing them why I got the job here. And I'm noticing the people who hired us as audience, they're over there and they're enjoying it, and they're still like moving stuff in the background. And then I noticed like once people are getting set up, they're all stopping and watching. And he had me dancing for like 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, my heartbeat was... And I was going, I had my leg on the rail. I was trying to do the worm. I was doing the back bend. At one point, I thought I sprained my ankle. Thank God I did not. And then all of a sudden, I hear him go, the lady who plays Barbara Jean, it was her birthday, so there were balloons everywhere. I hear him go, it's her birthday, so you better dance for her extra hard. I turn around. She has come up to the railing.
Shut up, Blake.
This $5 bill.
You are lying right now.
She pulls it out and she goes like this and she hands it to me. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, you're like give it up for a dance for the birthday girl." Again, if you know how much I love Reba and I love that show.
That's how could you? Okay, you're pissing me off.
Why?
You started this whole thing like, "Oh, LA," and you had like the most magical moment.
I did, but maybe that's why I'm unbiased. I'm just like, I can have these magical moments if I go there for work. But anyways, all that to say, I was just like, that woman, she taught me to be funny.
Aww.
Like, she taught me to be funny. I can get emotional. I'm not going to. But I was just like,
we can't cry every week.
No, we can't. I was like, the fact that I got to entertain her for 2 minutes.
No, that's huge.
And I was like, that to me, again, another little God kiss. And I was just like, this was amazing. And maybe that's why I didn't want to come home. I was like, you can't top this. Like, you go to the beach afterwards, and I was like, I danced
exactly. That's
I danced
true.
for Melissa Peterman. Like, what am I supposed to do? Just sit at the beach and have fun? Like,
yeah.
And it was so amazing. There was a picture of Barbara Jean I wanted to frame for my wall that we couldn't get a good quality of. We're getting it for next week.
Yeah.
This $5 bill is going in the frame.
100%.
We are never spending it.
Never.
I don't care how destitute any of us
We're never
get.
going to be destitute.
We are.
And we're going to do this podcast forever.
You speak on it, girl. But that was my most magical moment. Everything else was great. Go to the Earth Cafe, by the way.
Okay, I love that was your experience. I was in D.C. over the last couple of days, and I might be on their local news.
Why?
They stopped me in the airport.
Real quick, before you get into your story, where we go, these things happen to us.
I don't know why. It's because I smile at people and make eye contact, and the reporter was cute and like.
But this is also what we're meant to do.
That's true. Him and I locked eyes, and I like. I didn't realize he even. Gabe always gets mad at me because I'm smiley and I smile at everybody, and then it like puts me in situations where I don't necessarily want to be in.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna see this footage. Ray, he's gonna be like, I smiled at the camera guy. Raven's gonna be like,
No, it was. I had all my stuff. I'm like going to go through TSA, and we lock eyes. He had beautiful blue eyes. We lock eyes, and he's like, "Hey, where you like?" Started up a conversation as if he wasn't about to bring a camera and a microphone. So we're talking, and then he pulls out a mic, and I see a camera guy come, and I'm like, "Great!" And he's like,
I just wanted a day off."
He's like, "What's the worst part about traveling?" And I was like, "The lines and the waiting and like it's." And he's like, "What about taking your shoes off?" I was like, "I hate that." I like touched his arm because he had a really nice arm. I think he was married. If you're married, sir, I'm sorry. And he's like, "Well, now TSA is gonna stop. You don't have to take your shoes off." Blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, "Yeah, totally." Like, no makeup on. I was out till 2 a.m.
Who flies with a bonnet on?
No.
Okay.
I had on the same dress I had on earlier.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I didn't have like full face or anything.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Thank you so much." I'm like, "Great." So I'm like walking off because I got to go through security. And he's like, "Wait, where are you from?" Like trying to hold a car. I was like, "Sir, I got to go." I was like, "Nashville. I'm headed back to Nashville." The camera guy's like, "I'm from Hopkinsville." I was like, "That's it."
That could have been your moment. You could have found a man.
Gotta go.
Was he that cute?
He was very cute.
And
he looked young though.
that was, listen, you've been saying you've been.
No,
That could have been
I'm
your
in
man.
my dating era, and it's not going great.
Really?
Listen, girl, we so off subject.
Someone's like, what happened to pop culture? It's our pop culture this week.
So I've been on the apps.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna like put myself out there. There's a lot of trash.
Oh, absolutely.
Debris.
Have you heard of that thing? They say there's plenty of fish in the sea. There's like, you know what there else is in the sea? Pollution. BP oil.
You get, okay, so say you match with 10 men, right? You get 3 that are like dry.
And they're the ones who are going to say, if we match, start the conversation.
Yeah. Dry. I'm like, okay, I'm not pulling teeth. Like, I have so many people in the world talk to, I'm not talking to you. Then you get 3 who like start out great, and then it like just kind of fizzles, which makes sense. Like everyone's busy.
6 to 10 so far. Okay.
Then you get another 3 that like heavy, like come in really hot, but then it turns into come over. Like
they're like, wow, you're gorgeous, va 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 boom, and then it's like, anal, and you're like,
How we get here? And then you get the one where you're like, oh, he's cute. Like, we're having a good convo. It's so hard to get outside of the app, though. Because I'm a Southern traditional kind of woman, I'm like, I'm not about to, like,
You're not about to set up the date.
No, I'm not setting up. Like, if you want to see me, like, we'll make it work. Like, and I'm not even one of those girls that's like, I need 72 hours in advance. And, like I'm...
Sprinkle.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with, like, hey, want to grab drinks tonight? Like, yeah, like, I'm single.
Just initiative in general.
Yeah, like, I'll go grab a drink with whoever. It's been a lot of, like, delayed texting or too much texting or making a plan to meet up and not meeting up. So it's not going great. I'm not throwing in the towel yet. But I'm also not, like, trying to, like, find my husband necessarily. Like, I just want to, like, meet people and date and have fun.
You're supposed to be dating yourself.
Whatever. I can date myself and other people at the same time.
I think... I was on the apps for a while when I started losing weight. I was like, when I get down to a certain... I know people may have a thing to say about that, but I was like... In gay world especially, they will take one look at you and be like, nope.
I mean, that's everyone world.
But I was just like, and we're doing the podcast. I'm like, I'm dating myself for real. I just took myself to LA.
Yeah.
Got lucky.
Oh my God.
But it's just the one that bothers me the most because I am so talkative. Spoiler alert, is I'm like, hey, how are you? And they're like, if we match talk, and they're like, good. And I'm like, oh, great. Like, what's your day like? All right. And I'm like, oh, cool. My favorite color is green, and my favorite animal is a dolphin. And my dad, I've never actually met my biological one. What do you want to talk about? And they're like, cool. Snap.
It is terrible. Listen, like I said, I'm not throwing in the towel. I want to meet people. I want to make. I also want more like straight guy friends. So I'm like,
We both.
Respectfully, no, y'all are my number one people. I'm obsessed. But I've always had like a lot of straight guy friends, like before I moved here and became a part of this beautiful community with you. And I do think like in life, it's good to have some balance. And I like have zero, well, besides like our friends' husbands and fiancés, like I would like to meet some straight men.
This is when you need to meet my friend Chandler, because then y'all can go, queen out together while doing weights.
Yeah, for sure.
You
But
can be like,
anyway,
bro.
but anyway,
Yeah.
less about me,
Yeah.
more about Beyonce.
You went to Beyonce. Months and months of waiting, and you finally did it. Half of your friends have already been before you. Let's talk about it.
Okay. Oh my gosh, it was so great. Let's start low and go high.
Okay.
I will never respectfully, I love you all so much, I will never go to another concert at that venue.
In and out, dangerous, awful.
It was horrible. I was in D.C.
Yeah.
But it was like 45 minutes outside of the city. I think it's in Maryland.
Okay.
And it was like a 30-minute walk from where the Ubers dropped you to the stadium.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, I wanted to Uber to the stadium.
Like,
and you're like, no, this is as far as we go.
Let me see the stadium.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to have eye line.
We paid extra money in Chicago for the bike people who were like, $45 a person. We're like, we'll do it. They still dropped us off half a mile away. I'm like, then what good are you?
We walked, no joke, 3 miles, 2 miles to get to the stadium. It's 1,000 degrees. It was so hot. So we get to the stadium. It's packed, very unorganized. We get to start the show. I'm like drenched in sweat.
Because DC in the summer, also no.
No. At this point, I'm like, whatever, we're going to have a good time. It's so hot. On the way back, concert's over. We've danced, we've hollered, we've had a great time. 30-minute walk to the Metro.
Oh, you took the Metro.
We took the Metro back. On the Metro, there's nowhere to sit. So we're standing. We're stopped like 39.
Yeah.
So it's like a 40-minute Metro drive. 5 minutes in, I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna throw up.
Were there grown men sitting down and would not?
It was all women sitting. There was some men sitting further away from us, but it was all women in my general vicinity.
Men used to go to war.
Exactly. And 5 minutes in, I'm like, oh no, like I have really bad motion sickness. Like I don't feel very good. Another 5 minutes, I was like, y'all, I kind of feel barfy, like I could throw up. Another 5 minutes, I was like, I need to get off on the next stop and get an Uber back to my hotel. I will die. I will throw up on all of you and I will die on this train. So we got off early and then got an Uber back to the hotel because I was, exhausted.
Was the Uber in the triple digits?
No.
Oh, good.
No, it really wasn't bad.
Like you were far enough away
Yeah,
that it wasn't.
We were close enough to the city to where it was like $40 to get from where we went. So that part, hated it. The show, Beyoncé is otherworldly. It was that was my 5th time seeing her. 2, 3, 4. That was my 5th time seeing her, and it just it gets better. Song choices. I love that we had a Renaissance moment. I danced to my leg. I have my left knee give me trouble.
It gives you some trouble.
I was in my chair. Because, I had to have a seat.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this is what I was going to ask. So there's only some Atlanta concerts. Spoiler a little bit. When that thing flashed and you hear, runner. Were you like,
and the people around us were the best. Like, everybody was on the same energy.
What's the little dancer's name? Honeycomb? Something like that?
Not Honeycomb,
Honey Tree?
baby. Had you not called a baby Honeycomb,
Honey
it's Honey
Valencia.
Balenciaga. Had you not called a baby Honeycomb, I would have been able to call their name.
Sorry.
Phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Phenomenal. Mic was on.
Yes.
Vocals were vocaling. Looks were looking.
Was she in the car?
No, girl. She was in a horseshoe.
She was on. Oh, she did the horseshoe. She said, "We're not doing this car anymore."
No.
Because let's
What
talk about that
car?
real quick. When we went out of town last week, somebody commented. They were like, "Of course, the week Beyonce almost plummets to her demise."
Beyonce almost passed away,
Yes.
and I was so mad.
Oh, yeah.
I was mad with her up in that horseshoe. I yelled, "Get her down!"
She goes, 16 carats. Stop. I said stop.
She didn't sing 16 Carriages for us.
She didn't
Nope.
at all.
Nope.
That was like the one part I wanted to talk to you about, though. Okay,
We
can I
didn't
ruin
get
a
it.
little something?
Yeah.
Did she do like the pictures of passing of time?
Who?
So like when I was in Chicago, because the last song she does is 16 Carriages.
Oh, that ain't she closed with it?
She closes with 16
Oh,
Carriages.
that ain't what she did for us.
What'd she close with y'all for?
I don't remember, but it wasn't it.
Okay, yeah, were you hammered?
I wasn't hammered, but I will say
why
it
she got sick on the
felt
subway.
like a fever dream. I will say this. She came out to sing Texas Hold'em. I'm high. I'm tired. My left knee. Ashley's like, girl, I looked at Ashley. I said, I have nothing left to give Beyonce. I can't do it no more. And this is it. Ashley was like, this is the finale. You'll be fine. Not the hell for saying 12 more songs.
Oh, yeah.
That's before she even went into the archives.
Oh, yeah.
And I was up dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Hollering and screaming.
You said, I have nothing left to give, and you said, yes, I
And
do.
then I found it. I pulled it out my toe. I
Yeah.
said, I'm giving her all I got.
Yep. And, well, yeah.
If I were a boy, you think I'm gonna like not give it all for if I were a boy?
She's saying if I were a boy.
Girl.
She did Irreplaceable.
Irreplaceable.
She did, I think maybe, don't quote me on this, I think at ours she might have done Check on It. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
So, okay, back to the 16 Carriages. She it was like this whole thing about how like her whole life, and it starts from her practicing young.
We did get that, but she didn't sing 16
Like
Carriages.
Okay, but like the whole thing where it's like
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. Yeah,
Yeah.
but then she would do 16, and it's probably because she's scared to go up in that Corvette again.
No, she got up. She was up. She flew around for a long time. And
But
I
on the
said-
horseshoe.
On the horseshoe. And I said, enough is enough.
But but the 16 Carriages, she did that last in the Cadillac. So that's what I'm wondering about.
No, but we...
Also, the Texas Hold'em. Row, 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 row.
It was
But good.
so amazing. My highlight, I was like a proud auntie. Blue.
Getting out there.
She was so good.
From the last one to now, because we didn't get her on the last one, remember? But like
Yeah.
in the Renaissance film.
Oh, she looked like her mother's child. She won gorgeous. Every look perfect. She gave face. She gave moves. She looked so comfortable. And like she was exactly where she was. Like there were points where I was not watching Beyonce. I was watching Blue because she was giving it so much.
That moment where they go off on the stage separately together, like I said, half the audience watched B,
Yeah.
half the audience watched Blue.
It was crazy how she keeps up with these professional adult dancers. So impressive. Rumi got out. Rumi said, I'm going to do what I want to do at this show.
Oh, yes.
First of all, they start the song, and I looked at Ashley. I said, somebody holding Rumi with all they got. Because that baby going to run.
She just...
She came out. She waved, and she bowed.
And Beyonce's
she
over there
blew.
trying to be like, I'll be your protector. And then Blue's trying to hold him, and she's like, get off of me.
She's blowing kisses. She's like pointing at people. So good. Miss Tina was there. I did not see her, but I saw that she posted after.
Yeah.
Okay. Ashley, so we're going to try to get merch in the beginning. Didn't work out. So we were like, okay, at the end, Ashley really wanted to get merch. Shout out to Ashley.
Ashley, friend of the pod, hello.
And
Joey.
And Joey.
Who's not interested.
Okay, shut up. So Ashley's like, I'm gonna go get merch. So we're like, okay, well, we gonna sit down because rest my legs before we had to go on this 18-mile walk.
That knee.
We meet back up with Ashley and she's like, y'all, I just ran into Jonathan Groff. She was like, literally ran into.
Like, boom.
Like, she was like, I turned around and he was right there. And I was like, did you say anything? And she was like, no. And she was like, he was talking to his friends and was like, oh my God, it's crazy in here. And she was like, we made eye contact. And she was like, yeah, it's crazy. And I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, I would have freaked out.
Oh my gosh. Well, if you were at the Broadway show, he's supposed to be in on Sunday and the understudy was there. I guess now you know where he was.
Seriously.
That is crazy.
Yeah, so, but it was the best show. It is so long.
Very long. And I'm like, she's what, 43 now?
Yep.
And
yeah,
I mean, life does not end after you
no.
get into your 40s, but I'm just like, literally.
I was
And then there's supposed to be an act 3. Yeah.
I said, Beyonce, that's enough. But then she kept giving it to us.
It was 50 degrees where I was, and by the end, we were sweating.
No. Blake, I can't even talk about, I said, thank God I'm about to throw up because I can't focus on the smells on this metro. Because you know everybody was smelling like cattle.
Cattle, and then people, some people pee on the bus.
I was like, I stink.
Yeah.
So
This sweat on the underboob.
I know y'all stink. And I can only really smell myself in this moment. Thank God. I have never sweated so much in my life, but I danced so hard. It was the best time.
Did she do Tyrant with All Night?
Yes! The transitions, when she did a I could have cried. There were so many times where I was like, do not cry. Because like you'll be even more tired. So I like
and then you'll have a headache.
And I'll have a headache. I wanted to cry so many times.
Okay, I do want to ask you this because we talked about this when I went. The sense of patriotism. Because in between me going in May and you going on July 7th, a lot has happened in our administration, in America, all these kind of things. But how did you feel from that standpoint? Or were you like, whatever?
I was like, whatever.
Because
I mean, there was an obvious statement of like, we all built this country and you don't get to tell people who belongs and who doesn't. And I think the imagery of it was really beautiful. I think it was done very tastefully. I feel like she didn't call anybody out. I will say on the one part where they're talking about, she's showing the clips of the reporters and people talking about her not being country and all of the dog whistle racism and the things that they were saying. And she blurred out their faces. I said, you better than me because their face will be on there.
Oh, yeah. And you
I
know
said, shut up.
And you know who she needs to add to that little thing? Gavin Adcock.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is.
Nobody does.
Exactly.
And you know what? That's why I don't want to get into it too much. That whole thing about him being like, we're coming for her ass. First of all, that sounded sundown.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I'm like, you knew your album probably was not going to do that well.
Exactly.
And so you had to say that so you could get on everybody's radar.
And so he could ride on her coattails.
On her. The car going this way.
Seriously. It was such a great show.
Yeah.
I have no complaints, no notes. She is special, and the fact that like we get to see her in like our lifetime is like so special. I'm like, has to be how people felt about Michael.
Yeah.
Like has to be.
Oh yeah.
Because it's just epic.
And I wonder, I mean, I'm now one of those people who I believe the third act is going to be a rock.
Me too.
Because of the Tina Turner stuff. I know you wanted it to be rap.
But if she gives me like a spaghetti on that album, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Remember when she did the cover of You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette?
No.
And it was epic. She can do whatever. That's the energy I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
So like, I hope we go into that direction.
Yeah.
I would love it. I would also go to that show.
Yeah, well, I think that'll be cool. I'm glad you got to go.
Yes.
I'm glad you came away from that.
I also love DC.
Changed for good. So.
I love DC so much. It's like one of my favorite places.
Really?
Really. I love it there. We went to the Bible Museum.
Oh, that doesn't sound like you have a positive review. Did you leave early like I did?
That was horrible.
Wait, why?
It wasn't. Listen, you can only look at so many old books before you like, okay, old book after old book. There were parts that were good. We wanted to go to the Space Museum, but
Katy Perry was there.
it was shut up. It was sold out.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, because they're all free there, but you have to like reserve your time.
So we paid $30 to go to the Bible Museum.
You mean with all these changes we're making in America, the Bible Museum is not sold out? I will say, a couple years ago, I went with my mom to the Ark and the Creation Museum in Lexington, Kentucky, and that...
Lexington, Kentucky.
What?
Go ahead.
In Kentucky. And that was wild because the way they present that museum, they were like, oh, yeah, there were dinosaurs on the Bible. Or, no. There were dinosaurs with Adam and Eve, and then they died out when the Ark came because they couldn't get on the boat.
Yeah. I will say one thing that I did take away from the Bible Museum, which was very cool, is they have this like room of every language in the Bible. Like that language is Bible. Every region. There are so many countries that don't have the Bible in their language or in their region.
Still to this day.
To this day. Because of resources, because of political reasons, like they're not allowed to have Bibles. It is overwhelming how many empty spaces there were.
That's wild.
And that was like my biggest takeaway of like, dang, like it feels so, like we are privileged in that way to where we do get to like see so many different religions and like learn about so many different religions, and like the fact that these people don't even have like a Bible option. It is crazy.
Does it make you want to hop on a plane and go take a photo op in a third world country?
No.
Okay.
That's somebody else's ministry, not mine. I barely
Little
speak.
white girl.
I barely speak English good. Y'all don't want me to get nobody else no Bibles.
Apparently so do I. Let's just Kentucky.
Yeah, speaking of spitting verses, guess who has some shade? Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion.
Back to our pop culture bag.
Girl, okay. So today, Nicki Minaj posted an article. The article's titled, Megan Thee Stallion and Roc Nation Can't Dismiss Cameraman's Lawsuit Over Alleged Car Sex Incident. So the, whatchamacallit says, the judge has denied Roc Nation and Megan Thee Stallion's motion to dismiss a lawsuit where her homosexual cameraman claims the twerker, I hated that.
Not the twerker.
This is academics TV, so take that with a grain of salt. The twerker forced him to watch her have a freak-off car sex with a woman inside a moving car while on tour in Ibiza, Spain in 2022. Judge Wood says the cameraman, who is gay, we already told us that, plausibly pleads that the alleged sexual encounter in the SUV in Ibiza created a hostile work environment based on the plaintiff's sexual orientation. Now, so let's reel it back in.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Megan Thee Stallion was in Ibiza. I don't know if it was for work or for pleasure. The cameraman also was present. There was a sexual encounter between her and another woman in the backseat of the car. And he is saying like it created a hostile work environment because he was forced, I'm using air quotes because it's all alleged, forced to watch this encounter happen. Nicki
Minaj?
Yes. Captions. What was the name of that law again? Karma's Law? Because y'all remember when Megan said...
Megan's Law.
Yeah. You better know, girl. Touch not my anointed law. Vengeance is the Lord's law. Not you bringing God in it.
Quit bringing God into your dumb...
Wait a minute. We give God the glory, and he's only just begun. Have a blessed day if you can. LOL, the blogs posting lies. Thank you. More money for me. We're working trust.
Do you think she giggled about that with her husband 50 feet away from a school?
That's what I was about to say.
I was just wondering.
Not as creatively as that. But
okay.
I'm sorry. Barbs, get your fingers ready. I can't stand Nicki Minaj. She is such a disappointment.
Tell me why.
As a person who like really enjoyed her music, the antics, where was your last song?
She's literally doing to Megan what she said Little Kim did to her.
Literally. She was
You live long enough to be the hero, or what is it? You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain.
yeah, there you go. She that didn't have to happen. Also, that was not like a CBS article she reposted. That's some nigga who a blogger putting some shit on the internet. Like, we don't even really know for real what the tea is.
Yeah, I got the information from ibknowing.org. Hit the Patreon if you really want to know.
Literally.
Like that,
And
yeah.
it's like, I cannot. It is so disappointing to see what she has become. For her to post that publicly against another black woman, keep in mind, Megan never said her name. She took that bullet on her own. Megan never said, oh, this for Nicki and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You knew you married a pedophile sex offender. And you caught that stray.
You said I jumped in front of that bullet.
Exactly. I was so annoyed with her. She's so annoying. And like I said, Barbs, do what you do. Hopefully we get more followers. If you're going to bitch at us, follow us.
Now if someone's going to knock on your door at 10 p.m.
No, I have a gun.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to talk about
And bullets.
You want to talk about law? Okay. Outlaw. Let's go. Okay, come on.
I have a
It's the
gun and
Wild Wild
bullets.
West.
I got a
Wild
Ring
Wild
camera
West.
too.
The Wild Wild West. Okay. That's wild. Listen, you should never be forced to be.
Of course
if
not.
it's all true, allegedly.
Yeah.
You should
That's
never
crazy.
be forced to do that. But that does also surprise me because in the world of television, filming, documentary, as a cameraman, they tell you a child could be dying in front of you. You get the content. You don't step in.
I think it's weird because, like, there's certain people that I feel like are like, and this is going to sound horrible, and I'm trying to think of how I want to say this, who are like around but meant to be invisible. Put your hand down. You get on my nerves. And that kind of sounds like the situation. Like, you're here because you do a job, but like, you're here to capture me living whatever life I'm living. It's interesting. If this is true and like there is a real lawsuit and all of that, like I'm interested to see how this plays out because that kind of changes the dynamic of a lot bodyguards, like drivers, like that changes the dynamic of like what you can do on your personal time, when you have people who work for you when you're on your personal time. Are you just forever working?
And listen, when we talk about this too, I'm not condoning.
No.
If he didn't want to be a part of it, then that's fine. But I just think like we grew up in the era of reality TV and there's like people hooking up in the woods.
Yeah.
There's people getting shot on camera on cops and like all these things and the cameraman's just like,
And that's what I'm saying. But like as a performer or as a celebrity, you may not be on the clock, but you have people working for you full time, like a bodyguard. So like, can a bodyguard then be like, she did something in front of me that I didn't like and then sue that person?
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's like a very slippery slope there, and I'm interested to see how this plays out.
I'm interested too because it makes me wonder. Like, I knew a writer. They wrote about the Kardashians. They said you walk into the foyer of their home, you're signing an NDA before you see a thing.
Right.
And it's like you can't sue, you can't do any of that. And I'm just like, well.
So I don't know if he was asked to participate or asked to be involved because I feel like that's wildly inappropriate.
Absolutely.
Or if it was like we in the car,
We ride slow.
we doing things that the girls don't do.
Well, apparently they do. Allegedly.
But I don't know if it was that situation where he was just in the vicinity of this so-called freak. Also, everything is not a freak off.
Speaking of the Diddy stuff.
Girl, I hope he go to jail.
Well, apparently he was acquitted on some stuff, but he's also
He did. He got acquitted on the most serious charges, but he can still face up to 20 years on the charges he was convicted of. He also tried to get out on bond or bail. I always get those mixed up. And the judge said no.
I didn't realize there was a difference, but okay.
Yeah, the judge said no. So he has to stay in prison until his sentencing, which doesn't look great for him. It looks like from that perspective, he might end up getting some jail time.
If I were those jury members, you best believe I'd be going into witness protection.
100%.
Weren't they not there for that? I heard that
No,
they got
left.
released early.
They got released early. They weren't there for the the verdict.
But I'm saying they were on. I think, isn't that weird that we have jury members where the people can, like, they should be behind a one-way glass.
And that's the thing too, like, cause the courtroom was public.
Like, people know.
Like, people know.
You can be at Target and be like, I remember you.
Yeah, like, people, like anybody off the street can walk in there.
I did see a thing that said, like, it was some dude online, so let's be very clear. And he was like, no, there was, like, evidence that, like, Cassie was at one of those things and she was, like, picking out people and blah, blah, blah. And there was, like, this whole conversation of it. It's like, if he was forcing her to do that, and she was picking people, like, that doesn't mean she was having fun.
Exactly.
Like,
that was the whole thing. It was like, was she coerced? And and it was deemed that she was not. There was not coercion. There was not racketeering. He did get charged for bringing sex workers across state lines and for something else. I can't remember. But the RICO stuff, he got off on. So
that's crazy.
I know it's crazy. The finale of We Were Liars.
Still have not seen an episode.
Look at me in my eyes. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! We are about to ruin this series. If you want to watch it, fast forward.
Time links down below, as they are every week.
My homegirl Trinity had me watching this booty show. It was actually really good.
Booty show.
This is, okay, let us explain it to you. You ain't gonna watch it. So it's like The Summer I Turned Pretty gone like murder mystery.
Yeah, I remember you said that last time.
So it's a family, and they're very affluent, very like have all this money, a lot of secrets, whatever. It's 3 sisters and then their kids, and they all go to this like beach house for the summers to vacation together as a family. It goes back and forth, like present day to past. So basically what happens is you, as the viewer, see these cousins and friends living their lives through the summers, and then an event happens, you don't know what the event is, and then you're getting all these flashbacks and flash forwards. Everyone's present in the cast, all the cousins, everybody. Long story short, one of the sisters is seriously dating for a decade, an Indian man. The Indian man brings his nephew. So this nephew has now grown up with all of these kids coming for the summers, hanging out. Starts a love connection with one of the girls, one of the daughters. Turns out the grandpa racist, right?
Shocker.
But he voted for Obama, so, which I love that they threw that in there. And so they start to uncover like all the racism and like just the family like secrets and like how they handle things. They're very much like stiffen up your upper lip, nothing bothers you. It's more of a business than a family. It's giving the royal family where it's like we all actually hate each other and we're all vying for this one thing and we will steamroll over anybody who gets in the way.
Yeah.
So the 3 sisters hate each other. The grandmother ends up dying, right? So now it's thrown like a whole monkey wrench in the whole family dynamic. Now the grandpa's in charge. He's a lunatic. Yep. So they all get like a trust. They've all ran through their money, all the sisters. So now they're just vying for positions to get more inheritance, right? The kids are like, this is crazy. Like, why are they acting this way? Like, we can't be like this. Long story short, they get drunk one night at the house.
I guess to add in, the main girl is having she has amnesia from this event, so she's trying to remember what's happening, but no one is telling her.
Yes, she's trying to remember the event that they showed us. That they didn't show us. You know something happened, so we're going with her through this journey trying to figure out what happened because nobody will tell her what happened. They're telling her every time we tell you, it makes you sick and it makes you worse. So we can't tell you. So her and the liars is what they're called. So the cousins and then the other little boy, they're helping her figure out what happened and like solve this mystery, basically. They're all at the house one night. It's after a really bad dinner. Like the sisters acted crazy. It's just a rough night. They're all like, this would be so much better if like none of this existed and we could just be like a family. This isn't how this is supposed to be. So they decide they're going to burn down the house.
Work.
And mind you, it's an island that the family owns the island.
Yeah.
there's the main house, and then each daughter gets a house.
So they're going to burn down the they're going to burn down the big house.
Okay.
They come up with this plan, 16-year-olds, drunk 16-year-olds, on how they're going to burn this house down. So they've decided they're going to all go to different areas, and at a certain time, they're going to throw gasoline. At a certain time, they're going to light it up and get the hell out of there. Problem is, they're dumb.
They're 16.
And they're 16. The brown boy, is supposed to be the
That's not coming against younger people, by the way. We were dumb at 16, too.
Everyone's dumb at 16. You about to hear why it's dumb.
Okay.
The brown boy is supposed to be the lookout. He's supposed to drive the boat. Mm-hmm. And they're supposed to pretend like we didn't know what happened. The house just burned down. Mm-hmm. They get stuck in the house.
How do they get stuck?
Because they're stupid and they couldn't get out. They burned themselves in.
OT.
So they couldn't get out. So the main girl runs out of the house. She gets out, hears the dogs barking because it was the 4th of July and they drugged the dogs so that they wouldn't be scared. Mm-hmm. So she runs back in the house to get the dogs. Can't get to the dogs. So the dogs die. Damn. Runs out of the house. The whole house blow up. Mm-hmm. Bitch. You think like, damn.
You're like, that's tough.
The dog is dead. The dogs are dead. And everybody, they just dead. It's going to be sad. Them poor dogs. I was really devastated about the dogs. I ain't going to hold you.
Is it like do you remember like I Am Legend when he has to kill the dog? They don't show it.
Yeah.
Because everybody, if a villain dies, you're like, girl, good on you. If the dog dies, you're like, now what did that dog do to you?
Exactly. Yeah. It was so sad. So then we're flashing back, flashing forward. The reason she has amnesia in PTSD is because not only did the dogs die, the girl died. All of them died except for the one.
The one who's awake?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She's actively like hallucinating with them this whole time.
Wait, is it giving like Straw a little bit?
Yes!
I was going to say.
Yes, they're dead the whole time.
And so when she went back to get the dogs, her love interest who's on the boat, the clock strikes and he's like, oh wait, she's not in there. He goes into the house. They miss each other.
He dies.
Like he's going around the corner and she goes around the other way.
He dies, her cousin, the girl dies, and the boy cousin dies. She's the only one who survives. So then you realize, oh, y'all dead. Now I'm in the bed crying at 6 a.m. as the sun comes up. And you're actively watching the family like grieve them after she's like comes to the realization that they're dead. And it's like low key, it was her idea to do all of this. And she's the only one who survives. So she is still like hallucinating. Oh. So she's hallucinating. She gets to say goodbye to them, which was devastating.
When the cousin, he's like, I don't want to feel fire, because he's afraid he's going to go to hell because of like what he did, and he's gay secretly, and he's like, I don't want to feel the fire again. Oof.
And they're crying. I was like, first of all, I cussed Trinity because I said, why would you make me watch this? Mm-hmm. This is devastating.
I can hear Trinity. Isn't it great?
So sad. But then they all say goodbye. But then at the end, which is the twist, and if you read the books.
A twist on a twist.
A twist on a twist. So you think only she can see the dead people, right? Because she's hallucinating.
Come on, Haley Joel Osment.
Well, then at the end, the mom, one of the moms, can see her son. But she also has an addict. So we don't know if it's because she's high. Is he
did she die of an overdose?
Or is it a spirit? And his spirit can't be released? It leaves you on this like cliffhanger where you're just like, wait, how come she can see him? Cast is all of Nepo babies, but they did a great job.
But they Nepo'd.
Yeah.
They Nepo'd hard.
As someone who heard it from a friend of a friend, I mean, Trinity's my friend, but like to watch it, the first couple episodes, it was hard for me to stick with because you kind of are like, what the fuck is going on? Because thank God she dyed her hair.
Yeah, she dyes her hair black, so thank God, because then you can differentiate what's a flashback and what's present day. Because I would have been so confused. The character development was great. I thought the writing was really good. The acting was really good. It's a really good show. Jeez. So if we spoiled it, and if you haven't watched it and was like, oh, I don't even care, you can still watch it and still enjoy it.
Out of 10 beach houses, what would you give it?
Like an 8.
An 8 in a dock.
An 8 in a dock.
8 in a dock. Come on.
Hell
Big
yeah.
fat dock.
Speaking of beaches and bitches, Love Island. I don't, not in like the men bitches. I don't talk about women like that.
No. Girl, okay, Love Island people clock the in. Y'all, it's happened. It's happened. It's happening, and it's happened.
What's happened? Okay, so
Nick and Alandria.
Oh yes. Okay. Well, wait. The last time we talked about this, it was 2 weeks ago. So we had talked about like with them wanting to get together, and this like the day that this episode released, it was the night when she was like, "Get in the car, get in the car."
So much has happened since then.
Girl. Well, yeah, of course, there's 18 episodes.
We're only gonna talk about Nick and Alandria for a minute, and then we're gonna it's so much. Okay. So get in the car, get in the car. Mm-hmm. They go to a dinner. Mm-hmm. They have the option to return to the villa as a couple or go home. Mm-hmm. They return to the villa as a couple.
Of course.
Of course. Well, they get back to the villa. They're trying to like form a connection, but the other two, their old partners are also there. Mm-hmm. So it's like awkward and like they can't really like, they're trying to respect their friends. So it kind of dies on the vine. Mm-hmm. Well, then Nick's couple girl, Sierra, gets caught on the internet making racist comments toward Asian people, and they snatched her up in the night and said, "You are gone."
The producers.
They woke up. The girls got ready. They pulled her and said, "You are no longer on the show." So that leaves Nick single because his person just got kicked out of the villa.
Well, that makes me want to ask. Do you think the producers cared, or do you think they were trying to get Nick and Alandria together?
No, they cared because Yulissa, in the first few episodes, she got snatched too for the same thing.
Okay.
So people were, I'd keep up a little bit. People were like commenting like, "Why the are you guys not doing anything?" On what's her name, Ariana?
Mm-hmm. Ariana Madix.
Yeah, they were commenting on her like, "Why are you guys complacent with her?" Like all that stuff.
And I will say, I'm not condoning that at all. Some shows will let it rock.
This show will not.
Okay, well, that's good.
And they've made a hard stance. And my thing, too, was like they made a hard stance with Yulissa saying the N-word. They had to make a hard stance with Sierra, too. I liked Sierra fine in the villa. I mean, obviously, I wanted Nick to be with Alandria, but, like, it had to have... It just... You can't pick and choose what racial slurs are cool.
Yeah.
So, like, you just can't.
Yeah.
So, she's out. The recoupling happens. And the girls pick.
I did see this. I heard the big long music. So I picked Nick.
She was like, first of all, the thing she said in this recoupling, she was like, "I've loved him since the first time I saw him. Like, we have such a strong connection. Like, we've built a real friendship. And, like, I really want to see where this goes." She picks Nick. Now, when they broke off and went back to, like, the couples that they were originally going to be in, you could see in the conversation, Nick is like baiting her to see like what the vibes are. So he's like, "So like we kissed and like blah, 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 blah." And she shuts it down. And she's like, "Yeah, but I just see us more as like friends. Like we have to respect like the people." And he's like, yeah, I totally agree.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, no, girl, like you love him. What are you doing? So now we have a clean slate and they can like actually build a relationship. So after the recoupling, she picks him. They go and have a conversation and he's like, "You still make me really nervous and like I really like you." And she's like, "No, I've always really liked you. But like it was just awkward because like of our friends." And she's like, "We get a second chance at this." She was like, "For some reason, we keep getting pushed together and I don't know why, but I feel like we should really give this a shot." And he's like, "Absolutely." So then they go to bed because you sleep in the bed with your couple.
Oh.
So the next day...
I would hate that.
I hate. He's talking to Ace, which is another boy in the villa. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, like last night we were cuddling." And he was like, "My heart was racing. Like I felt this like fire in my chest." And he was like, "She like scooted up against me." And he was like, "My whole body was tingling." And like the light in his eyes, he is so... And Ace is like...
And like... As a viewer, even because like when you watch some reality shows, you're like, okay, you could tell they were like, "Let's do that again," like all that. Like,
no,
you could tell it was like, this is.
It's so cute. It's so authentic. And Ace is like, "Was she into it?" And he's like, "Bro, yes." Like he was shocked. And like they're like all hugged up and like they've been really lovey. And then this last episode, they had fake babies. Like you had to like take care of your baby.
Come on, home ec.
Hilarious. It was just so cute and so funny. Nick's also the part that like really stuck out to me. Nick's mom is like obviously watching at home like the rest of us, and she's been getting on social media and like putting her 2 cents in, and she's very team Alandria.
Okay.
And she says like to the camera, to us, on TikTok, she's like, I feel like Nick, she was like, Olandria makes Nick like be a man. She was like, when he's with her, he acts like a man. He was like, but the thing with Nick is when Nick is with Olandria, he brings out like the silly, funny, like innocent side of her, like the playful side. Nick says the exact same thing to Olandria. He's like, I feel like you make me like a better man, and like I have to like basically step my game up. He was like, but I also feel like I like make you like fun and like playful. He was like, I just really like our dynamic.
So pretty much everyone watching Love Island is just gooning and baiting at this.
Delusional, but it's happening.
Is this why you made you want to get back on the app? You
No.
want to find your Nick
No.
to your Alandria?
No.
I don't know, but I like Amaya Papaya.
I love Amaya Papaya. She's so funny. She had that moo on. She swung her leg up over that man.
See, I haven't watched a single episode. I've seen clips. I've seen the edits. That's like a big thing this year is you see all the edits on TikTok. Somebody said if you're a singer and you want to get your music off the ground right now, they were like, make a bunch of edits with popular songs and then sneak your song in there because somebody did that apparently.
Yeah.
But I will, and it's not to change subject, but I'm usually like a Big Brother watcher, and watching like the casket release and things like that and seeing the new Big Brother house, it's very like Traders themed, and then the cast is very, and I'm just like, I think the show may be in its swan song because it seems like they're copying this hot show.
Yeah.
Everybody's watching this hot show.
But I also feel like Love Island, this season has been really different than the other seasons. Like, we haven't gotten a movie night. Like, Casa Amor was, like, different. Like, this season has been a train wreck.
In a good way?
In a bad way.
Oh.
But it's, like, thank God for like Shelly and Ace, Nick and Olandria, like these couples that actually you do connect with. I think Nick and Olandria are gonna take this home. I think they're gonna win the show.
Get the Rock.
I mean, no one gets married.
Oh.
You win $100,000.
Love Island, heaven forbid.
You win $100,000.
Oh.
And then you split it with your person or you keep the money.
What if she takes him all the way to the end and just...
She won't. She's from Alabama.
Or he does.
Let's talk about this because I'm pissed.
Oh.
She is from Alabama. We love a Bama girly.
Roll Tide.
Not Roll Tide. It was revealed
War Eagle?
on this episode that she's an Auburn fan.
Is that War Eagle?
Yes.
Yeah, I got it right. See?
I was
Sports.
wait, I was rooting for you.
Did I ever tell you about the time I was on a plane and I was by myself, so I was terrified. You know how I feel flying by myself. And somebody was watching a football game in the back. It was Alabama against whatever, and they had scored. And somebody on the plane, midair, turbulent flight, goes, War Eagle! Girl, the way I thought I was about to fly into a tower. Sorry, I don't mean that. I was terrified. And that's when I learned that that's the cry of Auburn.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's one of those people.
She's an Auburn fan, and Nick was like, ew. And I'm like, this is like, he is so freaking cute and charming and perfect and so precious. I also feel like him and Sierra, when they were coupled, they had sex a couple times in the villa in front of everybody. Oh. So I honestly think that he got trapped in that relationship, in that coupling, and like couldn't get out. Because then it's like you look like an asshole, and like it's like awkward. Like you've already slept with this girl, and with her getting kicked out of the villa, like this is the perfect opportunity. Also, y'all are psychos, Love Island people. You're psychos. Wow. So they were looking at Olandria's old Instagram photos, and she has this necklace with like 2 hearts on it. Then they show her in the villa with the same necklace on, right? Then they cut to a clip of Nick with the other heart on.
Work.
I said, y'all need to get a job.
No.
I love it, but y'all need to get a job.
I'm telling y'all what, sometimes these people who are out there sleuthing on the internet, they can solve crimes quicker than anybody in the CIA.
Literally, I'm so excited to like watch their love affair unfold and to watch them win this show. And then he was like, I need to come to Alabama. Like, I need to visit Alabama. I'm like, y'all are going to get married. You're going to have babies. It's going to be great.
Oh, my God. And Nick and Olandria, come on the pod.
Yeah, we love Nick and Olandria.
We would love to talk about it. If they do, I would watch all the episodes.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of episodes.
It's too much. That's why I don't watch them.
You keep up. You keep up. Yeah. You watch the fan edits on the TikTok.
I keep up. I cannot consume that much content. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I love that for y'all.
Yeah. I do want to talk to you about this. Before we go, the one thing, I haven't been watching all those shows. one thing I am going to watch at the end of July, though. Have you seen the trailer for Shiny Happy Things?
I haven't.
Sometimes we'll do these live shows called Don't Make It Political with our girl, Christina Hart. She brings in really great comedians. One of them was April Joy.
We love April.
We follow her. Hello, April, if you listen. But she posted this thing recently that she got interviewed for this documentary called Shiny Happy Things, not to get us back into our deconstruction bag. It's about like this youth movement back in the day, I think, called like Acquire the Fire. Have you ever heard of it?
Actually, I have, yeah.
I've heard about it, and they were talking about how from the trailer, I guess, they were talking about how like this was like the thing to like really get the youth going for God. And, you know, April, she's our deconstruction girly.
100%.
And she was kind of like the tilting point in the trailer. She was like, you know, you do these things and you're like, you get like your love for God, but she's like, and then it like gets to like a point. And then that's when it kind of starts to unravel about like who the guy was, who was leading it, and like how like basically it turns into like this was like a movement of being like, are you ready to be martyred? Mm-hmm. And like basically preying on teenagers' feelings and thoughts. You know, is it a cult?
I'm sorry, that's what all church camps are.
Could you die for God? Or like
the like preying on the feeling and the emotion of like hormonal young people. I went to one and I loved it and I really have great fond memories and I'm not trying to put those people out.
I do too. That was like my favorite time of the year.
Yeah, like I went to one of those camps too, and like as much as it was like a wonderful experience and I loved it.
Yeah, same.
I was actually recently with some friends who also went to the same camp, and we were like, with adult eyes, a lot of that was not appropriate.
I loved my time at church camp, but I remember too, like, there's things that people had beef with, but I was like, I didn't see the big deal back then, but it's like, you take their phones, they're up all day, they get to, like, maybe have an hour of free time, you're eating, and then you get in there, and they tell you, now, granted, can be argued too, but it's like, what a horrible, evil, born, awful person you are, and then, like, you know.
See, ours wasn't like that, thank God. It was very light.
And I think that's the thing is, like, ours wasn't either. My friend said that they went to a church camp where it was like the whole week was leading up to like, do you want to get saved? And our church camp was like, if you're not saved and you just want to be at camp, great, have fun. God will get you when he gets you in a good way.
Yeah, that's ours.
And then others were like, here's how you can like live a good life. So I think that's why I had fun at camp. But there were still things. It's like, why do you have to take their phone? And it's like, well, you want them to focus. It's like, but it's all that kind of stuff.
Mine was so heavy, you didn't know what time it was. And
yeah,
they
we
like
didn't do all that.
They would tape over the window so you couldn't tell whether it was like day or night.
Mine, you could punish us. I got whipped, like spanked on the bottom.
That's how Gabe developed a kink.
All right. With all that being said,
we need to watch Shiny Happy Things. I want to talk about it. It's like 3 episodes, so we need to do that. But with all that being said, thank you so much for letting me go on vacation. And thank you so much for listening to this episode of Rewind the Podcast. If you want to listen to other episodes of Rewind the Podcast, you can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you like podcasts. We're not here to tell you what you like because you're a grown adult. But hey, guess what? If you want to watch the podcast and see our beautiful faces, you can watch us on the YouTubes. Make sure you subscribe, comment, like, and sign up for alerts because we've got some fun stuff floating around there that you won't get on the audio side. With all that being said, Raven.
Like Blake said, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us 5 stars and a review. You can find me on all social media platforms at I am Raven Dawson.
And I am Chronically Online. You can find me anywhere there's a social media site at Blake Rackley. And with all that being said, we'll see you
next time. Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to Rewind the Podcast.
Rewind the Podcast is a Laurel Street production, hosted by Raven Dawson and Blake Rackley.
Rewind the Podcast is recorded in Nashville, Tennessee, and produced by Gabe Bryant.
Our theme song is Famous Nobodies, performed by Rackley.
Written by Blake Rackley and Matt Pingle, and produced by David Spencer.
To contact Rewind the Podcast about sponsorship, business inquiries, or just to say hey, please email thatrewindpodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.